So today we're talking about note value. I want to use this paper and pen to sort of illustrate the three different note values that we're focusing on today. At the top, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. These are going to be the beats in our measure. A measure is just a unit of musical time. It's how we can count musical time in a piece of music. We're going to say that this piece of paper right here is 1 measure long. You can see it's the same length. And these are beats up here, so our measure is going to be 4 beats long. So far, so good. We have our measure. We know how many beats are in that measure. Let's start filling it up with music. The longest note value that we can have is 1 note that will take up the entire measure, or the whole measure, which is the name of this note. If you just draw basically a circle at the very beginning at beat 1, this whole note will last all 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll take up the whole measure. And if we use a whole note, that's the only thing that we can put in this measure. That seems pretty simple. Let's look at the next row down. Grab another piece of paper. All right, so I've got another measure here. Now if we wanted a note value that was shorter than a whole note, one thing that we could do is divide the measure into 2 parts. Let's actually do that right now. If I cut this right in half, because we're talking about notes right now. Here we go. So I've got 2 little chunks. And for now, I'm just going to take this guy away. So now I've got a note right here that is going to be half as long as our whole note, because we've cut the number of beats in half. And that, of course, is going to be called a half note. Half notes are a circle with a stem on the side. And half notes last 2 beats each. As you can see, if a whole note is 4 beats, half notes are going to be 2 beats long. I hope you can follow that. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to scoot these up a little bit. Our whole note, our half note. So next, instead of cutting our last measure into 2, we're going to cut it into 4 chunks, right? 1 for each beat, basically. So there's our first one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we've got 4 possible notes down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll get rid of these for now. And you can see, hopefully, I'm going to move this guy over here. We already know that that's 2 beats long. This note is going to be 1/4 of the length of our whole note, because we've chopped it up, that measure, remember that piece of paper, we chopped it into 4 pieces. So this is going to be a 4th note, but we don't call it a 4th note, we call it a quarter note, which I hope you've heard before. Quarter notes look like half notes with a filled in note head. There you go. Our quarter note is 1/4 the length of our whole note. Another way of saying that is that 1 quarter note takes up 1 beat. We can fit a quarter note on beat 1, 2, 3, or 4. Whereas a half note is twice as long as a quarter note, takes up 2 beats, 1, 2. And then of course, our whole note takes up all 4 beats. We can use this to sort of combine different note values to create different rhythms. Well, if we have a whole note, we can only fit 1, so that doesn't really count. But if we use, say, if we want to fill up our measure with a quarter note and then a half note, we can only fit 1 more note here, and it has to be a quarter note, because quarter notes are the only one that could fit in 1 beat. Just like that. So this is one possible combination of quarter notes and half notes that would fill up all 4 beats. Another combination could be, if we move our half note over here, we could put 2 quarter notes on this side. 2 beats, 1 beat, 1 beat, for 4 total. I hope you can see already that we can use all kinds of different note value combinations to take up all 4 beats of our measure. All note value is how long each of these note lasts. And remember, they all sort of are measured from our original whole note, which is 4 beats long. 4 beats long, then 2, and then 1 beat each.